I've traveled all the way to London, England from the United States with about half a dozen beers that I brewed myself.
Are these running?
Yeah, I believe so.
Did you clap?
Yeah. No. I'll be sitting down with Brad and Johnny from the Craft Beer channel to share my creations and get to know those guys a little bit better. The first thing I'm sharing with them is a hop water that I brewed using the absolute greatest homebrew hack of all time. I made it by running fresh water over the spent grain from an actual batch of beer. This pulls out some nice malt character and the last bit of sugar.
Right, wow, so the sugar is literally just enough to carbonate the beer. So you're re-fermenting like in package and then...
Yeah, and instead of using a clean fermenter and fresh yeast, I transferred it to a nearly empty keg that still had hop and yeast sludge at the bottom, which allowed me to reuse both. This is probably the lowest effort possible hop water you can make. So I feel like you get some of the grainy character as well.
Yeah, it
right?
smells like wort almost, yeah. I mean, that's very refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
honey, biscuits, lemon,
Yeah. It looks like
and then carbonated water.
something we've got over here called Robinson's lemon
Lemon and barley.
Robinson's lemon barley water with added oomph.
So it's got like a really pleasing sort of what would you say, Johnny?
It's one of the shades of grey, but
Yeah,
it's a little
yeah.
bit yellow.
But it's yellow, isn't it? It's very nice. Hazy.
Yeah, and I expected to get some astringency from the hops of this ABV, but there's not really any. It's nice and crisp.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of tingle on the tongue.
Yeah, you have to take it easy.
Yeah.
There is some perceived bitterness in there. I don't know if that's just the sort of the effervescence that's doing something to my taste buds. But I feel like
there's definitely
there
some
is
hop.
bitterness, right?
Yeah. It's like for a hop head. You know, I fucking hate water. You know, I hate drinking it. It's boring. It's dull.
Yeah.
And I have to do it. And if I have to do something, I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I'd drink that over water.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd sip a couple of pints of that every day.
So in your state, Kyle, do you drink tap water or is it a bit of a no-no?
We drink the tap
Oh, you
water.
drink tap
Yeah,
water,
I do
okay.
at least, yeah.
So would you prefer to drink this? If this came straight out of the tap, what do you think?
Sure.
I think it's pretty tasty, like you say.
And
On a hot
historically,
day.
that's what we'd have done. We'd
Yeah.
have made really, like, they were called small beers
Yes.
because they were safer than the natural water around it. So we'd make really light, low alcohol beers and serve it to the whole family,
Beautiful.
kids included. So this is quite historical.
So this is what we started making a lot of hop water at the office. So in our office we have 8 taps and they're typically always full, and maybe we have 4 people there, sometimes 5 if Ross drops by. Generally, we used to drink beers throughout the day, and then you get home and your wife's like, oh, you want a glass of wine? You're like, no, I think I just want to go to bed.
Several pints deep.
Exactly. That's not good for
I'm thinking of ordering a giant pizza is what you probably said.
you're not going to find that as advice in like any sort of marriage advice book, right?
Yeah.
So,
Be drunk by the time you get home. No, I don't think I've read that.
like any relationship. So, anyway, we started making the hop water, and this is what we drink all day. Essentially, we drink hop water.
I
at
drink
the
this all
office.
day, happily. Yeah. It's real tasty.
Water's overrated. Hot water
on.
is underrated.
Why are we not making hot water, Johnny?
It's a great question. It's great. Next time I finish a keg, I mean, we've got 2 pastry stouts in keg at the moment. I'm not sure how that will pan out, but let's give it a go.
Craft Beer Channel, hot water coming at you.
Pastry water.
Pastry water. Oh, pastry water. Ooh.
So this is Johnny, this is Brad. They're with the Craft Beer channel. I've brought several beers all the way from the United States to England to hang out with these guys, share what we've made, and then actually really what I want to do is learn a little bit more about you guys. So as we drink these, I'd like to ask you guys some questions if that's okay.
Of course, yeah.
Should we move on to the next one though?
Let's do it. Let's do some more hot water.
All right, so let's see here. Let's do this one next. So this is a dark mild. We're calling it party water.
That's cool. It works on.
Yeah.
It's a party, and there's also party guile, and well, it's water.
Yeah.
And it's a mild. So you brought a mild over to the UK.
Yeah.
You.
So another risky move.
Yeah. Are we the first Brits to have tasted?
Yes. Yeah.
Your mild.
Yeah. So this was the party guile for mash for the black lager that we made. Ton of black patent, a lot of black rice, And then again, this is basically the second runnings. I believe that's what you would call it. Very little hops in this. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea what I did with this, but
Burnt toast, and to be really British, a little bit of Marmite.
It has a sort of like a veggie sort of Marmite kind of thing going, doesn't it?
which is help me out here.
Marmite is a yeast extract condiment that we put on our toast.
Okay.
The tagline is "Love it or hate it,"
Okay.
and it's a pretty much straight line down the middle. I love it, and
I hate it.
This. Oh, there we go.
But I don't hate this necessarily. It smells pretty good because it's only a slight touch of the Marmite.
Yeah. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Sorry, I'd already gone in.
Okay, getting the mild thing, yeah. A little bit caramelly as well. Isn't
Yeah, caramel notes as well.
it? Nice. Again, better than tap water.
That's nice.
Oh yeah.
Much better.
I'd want to maybe slip a slice of lemon in that.
Oof.
I think that'd be really nice.
Just to bring a little bit of the citrus note.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a way.
Yeah.
Do you
thought
think
of
that
that.
it would almost be a little bit like a kind of shandy sort of flavour to it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I
a
think
little bit
so.
of a citrus note.
Yeah.
Are shandies? Are they dark?
You can have a dark shandy.
Yeah, they call it diesel in Germany, where
Yeah.
you mix lager with
You can have a
Coke.
bitter shandy.
Yeah, and a bitter shandy. Yeah, so you have like an amber beer with lemonade or whatever.
But
as well.
traditionally it would be a lager with lemonade.
with as cheap a lemonade as you can
Half
find.
and half
Yeah.
mix.
All right.
Oh, white
Schweppes
lemonade
or
is-
worse.
I'm gonna
Well,
do
yeah,
this.
Schweppes is more of a sort of connoisseur's choice.
When I get home, I'm gonna do this. So tell me about you guys. Your backgrounds.
So Brad and I met. We were working for the chef Jamie Oliver.
Okay.
It's kind of a big deal. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's sort of like an international TV chef.
Okay.
You don't know Jamie Oliver?
The name sounds familiar.
Ah, okay.
If my wife was here, she would say, "Yeah, Jamie."
Yeah,
Oliver.
yeah.
Go on.
So we met across an office, sort of longingly stared at each other for a
It's starting
bit.
to sound like a romance.
And then said, "Do you want to go to the pub for lunch?" To each other, and then
Brad asked me out. Yeah.
yeah, that became a regular thing. And then we went steady, and we thought we held hands, and we thought we'd start a YouTube channel together.
Oh, man.
We've told this story so many times, and it's never gone that way before.
happily ever after.
Yeah, so we kept going to the pub on Fridays and drinking beer. There's an amazing pub called the Old Fountain in Old Street in London where we worked, and we'd always go for a beer and a burger for a tenner.
Okay.
And got chatting about beer, and that was when Jamie Oliver started his YouTube channel called FoodTube. And we were like, we could do this about beer because we love beer. We're always talking about beer. There's beer reviews online, but no one's really doing anything particularly interesting. So we thought we could be those guys.
So
Plus,
what-
we're married now. So.
We are married. Well, Johnny has a wife, obviously, and I have a girlfriend. But we are a partnership and marriage. We're entwined in our love of beer, and we make exciting content about meeting the best people in the world that make beer.
Sure.
We go to the most exciting places in the world that make beer, don't we, Johnny?
So Jamie Oliver made YouTube videos about food, but then did he move on to make YouTube videos about drinking as well, cocktails?
He also started a drinks tube.
Because I think I saw you on, I guess it was Jamie Drinks Tube. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we did a
That's
couple
what
of
I
videos
think.
for them,
Sure.
and that really helped grow our channel. So we were within the FoodTube network for 3 or 4 years, and then went our own way. So we made stuff for FoodTube and for Drinks Tube. And
So then did you guys get started together on YouTube first, or was it the Jamie Oliver thing first, or?
it was literally, so Jamie basically, when he decided to make his channel, he like installed studios and all this kind of equipment so that he could make like he's a TV superstar, but he
Okay.
started making quick, cheap, run and gun kind of food content.
Sure.
And so we then borrowed all the cameras, the lighting, the studio, and started making beer content in those environments.
Cool.
So we very much piggybacked on everything he spent to make our content, really pop and feel exciting at the time. And still, the content is awful. Do not go back to the early videos of Craft Beer Channel, please. But we've sort of learned our trade since then, because Brad's a designer and I was a writer. So these were all
Okay.
new skills we were learning just out of this idea of what we've got the equipment.
So like content creation type writing, or actually like novel writing, or?
Yeah, so I was a trained journalist.
Okay.
And I ended up at Jamie's. I was editing his website by the time Brad did.
Okay.
I
And
met
then
Brad.
designer, what kind of
Designer, graphic design,
Okay.
TV, graphics,
Sure.
book design. I've designed books for Jamie, illustration,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That's my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But it's a creative sort of
And
guy.
Brad designs our merch.
Yeah, it's coming together because I get the journalistic style of the videos you guys make, and then I've definitely watched the videos and thought, that's a very nice title. Very nice title.
Yeah, so I think we try and make aspirational stuff these days, don't we, Johnny? So we're traveling around the world, Europe a lot. Mm-hmm. We try and get out there and kind of really zone in on the sort of breweries we love.
Yeah, we try to tell the stories of the people that we really respect, and that's changed quite a bit since we started because, I mean, you've probably found this as well. Once you actually get chatting to brewers, what's kind of more interesting is their story than their beers, because let's be honest, often the beers are they're all very similar, particularly in these days. So we find the stories of the people and their backgrounds just as interesting as what we're drinking. Yeah,
and it's subjective whether or not you like the beer or not, and it's really hard to convey that on camera, like what it tastes like, and no matter how good of a job you do describing what it smells like and what it tastes like, the person watching the video is never gonna really know what it tastes like. So
we always talk about it like, perfume ads, right? Have absolutely nothing to do with the aroma of the perfume.
Sure.
It's just like somebody beautiful doing something artsy.
Yeah.
Not to imply that the Craft Beer Channel is two beautiful people doing anything artsy in the least, but what it means is, you can't convey the flavour or the smells particularly well. We try really hard. I've done a lot of training to try and do that, but mostly it's the stories and getting people excited about that, the provenance of the ingredients, the stories of the people, the places that we go, and hopefully get people excited about those beers that way.
I would say, we're beer evangelists. We're really getting to the places that you might not actually be able to get to. So we've been to the Arctic Circle.
Sure.
We've been we've done road trips down the west coast of America. We've done road trips around New England to discover what New England IPA is.
I went to Chinese Oktoberfest.
You went to Chinese Oktoberfest.
Really? I didn't see that.
That was an experience.
These are like
more pole dancers than the original. Yeah.
Call me the next time you do that.
We do the stuff that you necessarily don't have the funds to or the inclination to, but it's there to be explored.
Sweet. So you guys started making content about the beers and the breweries that you loved, but then you started brewing at some point as well.
Yeah.
Were you brewing before you made the YouTube channel, or did
No. I mean, we started doing a little bit of homebrew. We brewed. We think it's the second New England IPA ever in the UK with a brewery called Gypsy Hill. Okay. And off the back of that, we were like, I'd really love to do a homebrew version because, a lot of these styles start in the homebrew sort of sector. So we did a homebrew version for that. And we were very kindly given a grain father to do that on. So we made that video, and then we didn't really touch homebrew again for a couple of years until lockdown with COVID happened.
Okay.
That was a real turning point, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that changed a lot for us. So we were all locked down, and I was in a one-bed flat in central London. Yeah. All the pubs were closed, and I got sick of not having cask ale. So basically, I bought a renovated proper cask hand pull, and then brewed my favourite best bitter, 5 Points best bitter at home, and then installed that hand pull on my coffee table.
This is during COVID lockdown, when you were only sort of allowed to go out for essentials,
which didn't count unless it was from a supermarket.
Didn't quite count, but by the point that he'd actually finished brewing it, I could come and meet him on his step and share a pint of cask ale with my very good friend here.
So it was partly the story of lockdown, it's partly the story of like a homebrewer, learning to homebrew almost, and then the challenge of creating cask ale, which is really not easy because it involves essentially bottle conditioning but in a cask.
Sure.
And that did really, really well views wise, and we were like, okay, so we've been not catering to our audience particularly well, and we actually did a survey of our viewers, and about 80% of them homebrew. So we were like, oh shit, we should be doing more of this.
There you go.
And it sort of exploded from there. So now we do a homebrew pretty much every month.
Yeah. So you guys are doing this regularly now. You built a brew cabin, brew shed. What do you call it?
Cabin's a pretty strong word for it. We call it the brewdio.
Brewdio.
But we're still not happy with that part.
You built a brewdio in your backyard.
Yeah.
Your backyard, somebody's backyard.
My backyard.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
It's not quite as elaborate as your setup, which is incredible.
Thanks. Yeah.
By the way, I haven't complimented you yet.
Anytime you guys want to come over and check it out, you're invited. All right.
It's gonna happen.
So this full time? You guys do this full time?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I quit my day job. I left Jamie's in 2014 and started working for a Belgian beer importer. For about 4 years, and then I left that. And took this full time. But outside of that, Brad and I still do gigs. So he still designs. I write books and.
He's being very modest. He's very successful, award-winning author of books on the subjects of beer.
Yeah, I have.
Which your viewers
how many
might
books
find
do you have?
interesting.
I've got three books at the moment.
Okay.
I'm working on number 4.
Yeah, so I have these books. Well, I'll put them in the video here.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I'll link to them as well. Side note, the book link in one of the videos that I clicked on today was like not active. It was,
Oh, really? It's dead.
So
Oh shit! I'll look into that.
yeah, and then so we basically living the dream.
Pretty much at
Could
this
be
point.
worse. Could be worse. I mean, look. The thing is, we're all in strange times at the moment.
Sure.
So it's we were living the dream, I think, in 2019.
Sure.
We didn't
then-
realise how good we had it, like
Oh,
the rest
man.
of the world.
Yeah.
I think we went to America 5 times in 2019
What?
with Craft Beer Channel. Just
Really?
going to like we went to Florida
Yeah.
to sort of look into Florida Vice
Yeah.
and all this sort of stuff.
Yep.
And then I visited Brewdog in Ohio and numerous other things. Obviously, our New England
We
trip.
went to New England. We went to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Helped with a university course for a week, which was strange times.
Yeah.
Teaching brewers the Cicerone syllabus. Yeah, we've done lots of weird things off the back of this.
It's great that we're able to sort of travel again now, and I think we're all sort of ramping up to getting out there and discovering stuff again.
I'm gonna call that living the dream.
Living the dream, man.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
So a couple more questions. Well, let's drink the next beer.
Should we do another beer? I'm intrigued about this black lager.
So this was the Perdigal mash that I made with.
Oh, right. So
Yeah.
that's the descendant of.
Yes. Yeah. Of this. So this is black lager. Lot of was probably 8% black patent, and then 6 or 7 pounds of black rice.
Wow.
And the yeast I used, I couldn't tell you, but it was a lager. So the idea with this is it's going to be really dark and really roasty, and it's going to taste like a really, heavy stout. But then it should finish very light and dry.
I mean, it smells black. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah. Again, this is another beer when it was done after I made it. So I made this for a friend's party, and again, just experimented. I don't know why I did this for the party beer. The beer had wrapped up. I took one drink. I was like, nope, you can't bring that to this party. No one's gonna like that. But I let it chill for a while, like for a week, and it really
Mellowed out.
Yeah, it really mellowed out. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, that's great. It's got a lot more sweetness than you expect from the aroma.
Yeah.
Really nice, rich body, sweet caramel,
Yeah.
raisin. I was expecting it to be really roasty on the palate, but actually that's all on the aroma. It's really nice.
It's quite dialed back, the roastiness, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna say that's mellowed out even. I mean, this one's been around for a minute, so
Yeah.
it continues to mellow.
Yeah, I mean, historically that used to happen as well. So porter, this classic British style, was invented. Basically, they started taxing malt really heavily. So they started throwing cheap black malt into these beers, and then they'd have to let it sit for months to round out. So that roastiness always kind of disappears. So that's clearly what's happened here, and it's resulted in a really nice kind of bittersweet beer.
Yeah, it's kind of rounding out for sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and then a couple more questions for you guys. So, what would you say that you are best known for, as far as like the content you've created, or your projects you've done?
I think it's we love to think of ourselves, whether we are or not, as sort of documentarians. So we're trying to make stuff that in 20 years will still be interesting to people. So we tell the stories. We try as beautifully as we possibly can. We try to film these places. So we've done stuff like Keep Cask Alive, which was a series all about cask ale.
Sure.
We did the New England piece because we were like, this has changed the face of craft beer.
Yeah.
We need to work out, where it came from, and head to the place that sort of invented it. So we went to The Alchemist, who, despite inventing hazy IPA, brew stuff that doesn't taste anything like what it's sort of become. But then also went to, Treehouse, and then also told the story of the fact that New England isn't just New England beer. So we try to sort of find the stories that interest us and tell it in a documentary style. Like, I don't know who we're closest to documentary style really, but Anthony Bourdain is one of my absolute heroes in TV, and I think that if we could be a quarter as good as him, that would be great.
Well, I mean, I guess our mission statement is to get, it's sort of like that parts unknown thing. We are explorers. We are trying to discover stuff, or like you say, document important things which are going to be part of history. And I think also you can watch our stuff outside of having an interest in beer and just experience amazing places around the world. Meet beautiful people that are passionate about what they do. Any craft is fascinating. And when you combine that with being able to get drunk with what the craft is, that's a winning combo, right?
I've watched every one of the Keep Cask Alive videos. Amazing series. I recommend everybody watch that. And then come to England and drink some cask. It's also an amazing experience.
Please do. It needs your help. Hence the title.
We're gonna do a video about that as well. I'll link it below, and then I'll link your cask series below. What's the one thing that you guys have done that you think everybody should watch?
I think that's probably our New England documentary. So when I took the channel full time in 2018, I wanted to do something that if it all went wrong very quickly and I had to get a day job again, I'd have something that we'd have been proud of.
Oh, sure.
So we blew back then we weren't earning much money at all through the channel. So we blew $4 or $5 grand on going to New England, filming at Alchemist, Hill Farmstead, Treehouse, Notch, Allagash, and stitching all together into an hour and 20-minute documentary so that we'd have something made, that I couldn't have made with a day job. And it won Broadcast of the Year at the North American Guild of Beer Writers. It won Broadcast of the Year at the British Guild of Beer Writers.
Wow.
And to some extent really sent us on the journey that we've been on, because the amount of, we still only made about $200 in advertising revenue from it, but so many more breweries have been interested in what we do as a result of that.
I think that was living the dream for us. Like that is a once in a lifetime beer adventure that any beer fan can appreciate and travel along with us in our car as we head through 5 different states over, I think, was it a 2.5 week period?
It's 10 days.
10
so
days.
Just under 2 weeks.
Snowstorms, getting up sort of mountainous terrain at Hill Farmstead
was intense.
Incredible stuff for a couple of guys from little old England to experience this amazing part of America at a time when it's influencing the world. It's incredible stuff.
And off the back of that, our interview with John Kimmich at The Alchemist is still one of my favourite videos, because it encompassed what we love to do, which is to go somewhere that's interesting with beer and have your minds blown by everything else that they do. John is an environmentalist. He's one of the most culturally significant brewers ever to have lived, let alone alive today, and telling his story while his little Yorkies follow him around the brewery and all this kind of stuff. It's just a mad sort of Willy Wonka-esque kind of story. It's
visionary springs to mind.
Visionary,
And we've met lots of visionaries along the way. We've been to On the Polo this year. We met a guy called Henok, who's a visionary in the sort of pastry realm, who's making, beers that are they even beers anymore? They're so wild and out there. It's such, this is the wonderful tapestry of beer that it can be from, hot water through to whatever you're going to get us to drink in a minute that isn't even telling us how high the percentage is. This is why we come back and make these videos, watch these videos, because it's so exciting. There's so much of a wealth of
so
stuff
much
to
still
explore.
to discover.
All right, let's drink one more beer, and then I'll have one more question. And I'm wondering if I mixed the labels up on these, because that did not taste how I thought it would taste.
Did we just neck a 10.5%?
Oh no, this is.
No, you're right.
No, this is definitely the.
Okay.
I shouldn't pour much of that.
So it's just a straight up Russian Imperial Stout?
Yeah.
What kind of percentage are we talking?
I'm pretty sure it's 10.5.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hoo-ha.
Yeah, that's
Smells like some
this is,
out of date dates.
Yeah, this is
wow.
probably
Boozy and
like
sweet.
a year and a half old. Oh wow.
You packaged that well then. There's not much oxidation in there.
I just packaged it.
Oh right, it was in right.
Yeah. So,
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
I didn't go in before the cheers that time. Yep. Oh yeah.
Damn.
That has got all the right oxidation notes. It's got little hints of sherry, red berries, dates, figs, all the dark, unctuous, naughty things you want to put with cheese.
We're on one of the hottest days in the year in the UK here, but I want to be drinking that by a fire, an open roaring fire, eating some cheese, you know, maybe in a sweater. That's a beautiful quaffable beer.
It can be less like Brad right now, which is full summer regalia.
Hawaiian sort of shirt guy. Yeah. That's incredible, man.
I'm suddenly envisioning, like, instead of Barbie, it's Brad, and we've got like winter Brad with a Russian imperial stout. We've got summer Brad with.
I need a roll neck. I need a sort of roll neck, and being close to the fire, not too close, where I'm sort of being singed by it. That is beautiful. You've done a great job.
We'll see if we can CGI some of that in here.
Oh, great stuff.
Last question, where are you guys headed? Well, 2 questions, 2-part question. Where are you headed with the channel, and then how can people best support you?
Well, so the next big project that we're on is going to be Keep Cask Alive 2, Season 2.
Okay, so you mentioned, I thought this is what you said in our exchange, that you said you're doing another Keep Cask Alive, but you have a proper budget this time. But I thought the original Keep Cask Alive was extremely well done.
Thank you.
So,
I mean,
curious what you're doing with the second.
Well, I mean, it'll be very similar, but we're going to get to travel more. We're going to get to spend more time on it. We've upgraded all of our equipment with that budget as well, so everything's going to start looking more beautiful. And yeah, just being more ambitious in what we could do, because, you know, everything we produce, I'm sure it's the same with you, is on a shoestring.
Yeah.
And we're just starting to get to that phase where we can really invest in broadcast equipment and trust that we're going to do the best with it.
Sure.
Because we were just shooting on, you know, the cheapest SLRs we could to start with, and now we're starting to be the documentarians we like to think we are. So yeah, we've got that coming up. So we're going to be telling the stories of like unusual places that cask is served. We're going to be going super niche. We've got an episode that's all about the regional variation in best bitters around the UK.
Okay.
So traveling around the north of England, talking about how these styles change as you go to different cities.
It's super nerd. We're nerding out.
Yeah.
But also, this is a style of beer that is unique to this part of the world.
Yeah.
And it's dying.
You can't.
We need to support it. We're trying to get a UNESCO World Certified.
Yeah.
Which I don't think many YouTubers have got missions like this.
So like UNESCO is a World Heritage.
Yeah, so like the Parthenon in Greece is protected by UNESCO. We're trying to get that for cask ale.
Interesting. Wow.
So that's already been done in Belgium for Belgian brewing and cafe culture.
Okay.
So we're going to try and do that for either the British pub or just cask ale itself.
Yeah.
So we've teamed up, we've got academics, lawyers working with us at the moment, and we're coming up with our campaign. And as part of the next series of Keep Cask Alive, we're going to be going to Belgium to see how they did it.
That is amazing. I'm going to say I've had cask beer once before, ever. We tried to brew a cask beer. It just doesn't. It's nothing like the cask I've had here, of course. But I've seen cask once in the U.S. I did some reading on this, and the only evidence that I could find that it was served anywhere else was a bar or brewery in Portland. So it's just something that, like, the people in the U.S. are just not familiar with. They just don't know. It's just not something.
Yeah, I mean, we've had cask in the US. We had one at Bear Republic. We've been to, well, I shouldn't name check because most of them have been terrible. But we did go to a great brewery in Philadelphia called Forest and Main. That do fantastic milds, saisons, bitters on cask.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely nailing it. It was like being back in the UK.
What was the terrible cask beer? Like, what was the problem with it?
Oh, I mean, there's two ways that Americans seem to mess up cask ale. One is they throw stuff into the cask, so they'll dry hop their cask and stuff like that.
See, I'd be that guy, man.
Yeah,
just like, let's throw some hop oils in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, hop oils might work, but throwing solids into something that's
powders.
carbonating, it just means you're going to get an explosion.
Sure.
So that's the main way, but the other more common reason, and it can work, but it rarely does, is just too high an ABV. So if you're serving really low carbonation, it's going to be syrupy if it's too strong.
Okay, so
cask is all about
what's the limit on that, you would say?
In the UK, you wouldn't get a beer over 6% in cask, really.
Gotcha.
They serve it for special occasions occasionally.
Yeah.
But that's because the brewers know what they're doing and they know that it's going to work.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you go, the Great British Beer Festival has an amazing American bar with American bottles and American casks. Half of the casks are far too strong, and you drink them and you're like, it's really syrupy and sweet, and it's not been brewed for cask.
Right.
You have to brew for the format almost. But I mean, at least half of the casks are also delicious.
Gotcha.
So,
Carl, you asked us how best to support the channel. Like and subscribe. at a craft beer channel, and also we do have a Patreon, which pays for us to travel and buy equipment, make these documentaries. So that's kind of like how best to support us, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Or start a beer YouTube channel, because the more people we have making great content on YouTube, YouTube still is only really seen as a resource for homebrew. It's not seen as a place to go and learn. People instead go to great websites like Good Beer Hunting and those kind of guys, or they read books. But YouTube has some incredible information on there, and I just wish more people would make. We've been sat here waiting for a decade for people to come along and do what we do better.
One of our slogans is "Drink yourself clever," which is obviously a bit of an oxymoron, but I think we sort of stand by that you can watch our content and you're going to learn some interesting stuff. Same as you. You're teaching in-depth home brewing stuff. We're sort of teaching cultural stuff, travel, which I think that's all important work, right? We're passionate about it. Why would we do it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Johnny, Brad, Craft Beer Channel, thanks so much for sitting down.
Thanks,
hanging out.
Pleasure.
It's been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Yeah. And scene.
All right.
Fiend.